Call this meeting to order. I don't have really any comments to make at this point, other than the fact that I thought the council members that could show up, it was a really good meeting between Public Works and Fire Service to explain the conditions that they have with their facilities and everything else. And I think some good decisions were made, good discussion was had. So really appreciated the time that staff put together for all the council to do that, because I think it was a very worthwhile day. We would like to acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the neutral peoples. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the confirmation of the agenda, please? Moved by Councillor Wilby, second by Councillor Morrison, that the agenda for the regular meeting of council dated November 4th, 2025 be adopted as circulated. All those in favor? And motion carries. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest from any member of council this evening? Seeing none at this time, can I get a mover and a seconder for the minutes of the previous meetings? That would be the regular meeting of October 1st and the special meeting of October 28th. Moved by Councillor Chartrand, second by Councillor Fisher. That the council of the municipality of Huron needs to approve the following council meeting minutes, October 1st and October 28th. Any comments or questions on those minutes? All those in favor? And motion carries. There are a number of items listed under the consent agenda. Are there any items that anybody would like to have pulled and discussed at this time? Councillor Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several, but the first one is 6-1, the fire report. There's a lot of verbiage there that I've listened to twice and still am digesting, and I wondered if any of my fellow councillors thought the same way, and maybe this could be 6-1 could be deferred and we spend more time on it, please.
Okay, any comments from Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I sort of agree with Councillor Fisher. I guess what I was going to do is ask Chief Boyer if he could put together Cole's notes of the most urgent ones and how we're going to approach each one, or how you would like to approach each one. I guess this should be better to say that.
Yeah, there's a lot there, so.
Because it's very overwhelming, as Bob said, and I just wondered if, if there's gonna be a list, say, you're gonna pick 10 of them and say, okay, this is what I want to accomplish in the next 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing on that, Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mr. Boyer, I didn't hear a lot of numbers on costs. Maybe I missed them because sometimes they don't translate well from text to voice, but
Yeah, the majority of it is just in staff.
timelines
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I would say 95% of the staff time, so just getting through it all.
Okay, thank you. Is that, do we need a motion for that, Mr. Mayor? Or
Well, by
are you
rights,
willing to make it?
we should have a motion at this point, just asking for a Coles note version. Because this one here, we should still be accepting because it was presented to council.
I would make that motion then, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and second by Deputy Mayor. Any final comments or questions on 6.1? All those in favor? And motion carries.
I got
Your
a
next
couple
item.
more if I may,
Yep.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
What numbers are they, Brenda, please?
Oh, which one did you just do?
One,
369?
6-9 and 6-8 and 6-8, 6-9 and 6-14. And I don't remember which is which, but I agree with all of them, and I feel that we should agree with the communities that presented these things about the province. I think most of them are.
Okay, so 6.8 was Tay Valley Township collaboration on action for sustainable waste management in Ontario. Do I have another person to comment on it? Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to ask for that to be pulled and supported as well. So in the state of our recycling through the province, I think it's important that we support that. So.
Okay. So I have a mover and a seconder for that with Councillor Fisher and Deputy Mayor. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? And motion carries for support. 6.9, Councillor Fisher.
Which one's it?
City of Brampton provincial decision on automated speed enforcement.
Yeah, anything I've heard about these radar cameras, whatever, at the schools and such, they're not a tax grab. They're doing a service. They're protecting and saving people, children, et cetera, from injuries. I definitely don't agree with removing them. I thought we should support Brampton on that comment.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Moved by Counselor, or second by Counselor Chartrand. Any other comments or questions of council? All those in favor of the motion? Motion carries. I just want to add one comment after the fact, Counselor Fisher. I don't have any problem with them in the zones that I think were originally designated as in construction zone or school zone. My only concern is that, especially with school zones, it was supposed to be slower speed limits when children were present at the school areas. But people were still getting tickets when it was Saturdays, Sundays, things like that.
I heard that part too, Mr. Mayor, but you get a bad habit, you keep it. You know what I mean?
I
That's-
don't have any bad habits.
Yeah, you're like Barry, I know. Some of us do it, and we continue with it. That was my concern, Mr. Mayor.
You also had 6.14, Town of East Wilmbury, if I'm pronouncing that right. Opposition to the Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act.
Yeah, I thought there were some environmental issues there I was concerned about that developers could skirt the edges of things and maybe not be as concerned about wetlands and water, et cetera.
Do I have a seconder for Councillor Deal? Any comments or questions of council? All those in favor of supporting? And motion carries. You.
Thank you, councillors.
Were there any other items that other members, Councillor Wilby?
I was wondering about the North Huron Community Food Share. We're asking for financial assistance if we could possibly support that.
My only, first of all, they didn't specify, at least what I read,
Mhm.
anything specific. And if we're going to do something, I would ask that we get some sort of updated information from staff. So that we know, first of all, what they're actually asking for and how it relates to other things, because Huron East Council, which pays more than 10% of the county budget, and the county budget already puts $66,000 a year into the food banks in Huron County. So we are actually paying a fair share, plus we also support our local food bank here.
Right,
I'm not saying that's wrong, but I would like more information, especially since there wasn't a specific amount that was requested that I saw in the document. But if you want to request more information, you can certainly do that at this time.
well, I think we could request more information.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Chartrand, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Fisher.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. They asked us several years ago for funding and they get absolutely no support at all from North Huron, as far as I know. Where, as you mentioned here, we cover the rent and the heat and hydro, as far as I know, for our food bank. I think that's part of the problem they have in North Huron. There's no municipal support.
Okay, then hopefully if we get a report back, it'll explain some of the details of what got them into the position that they're in, so we all have a better understanding. All those in favor of the motion? And motion carries, thank you. Councillor Deal.
I was wondering if we could support 6.5. The trees and stuff, the ash trees that we've lost, you can see them towering above the bushes all summer and along the roads.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Second by Councillor Morrison. Any comments or questions on that request? All those in favor? And motion carries. Did I get a mover and a seconder for the agenda to begin with? Agenda items? Okay.
Oh, sorry, the list of
Yeah.
the consent items? No.
Okay, can I get it, moved by deputy mayor? Oh, sorry, you had one?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry, if I could, please.
Yeah.
I'd like to pull and support 6.13, 613. It speaks to the blue box recycling program, asking the province to amend Ontario regulations 391/21. That the producers are responsible for the end of life management of recycling materials.
Okay. Certainly a very worthwhile cause. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Chartrand? Any comments or questions? All those in favor? And motion carries. So can I get, was there any other items that anybody wanted to pull? Seeing none, can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Deal, second by Councillor Newell. That the consent agenda items 6.1 to 6.18 to 6.18 be received for information and approved. And I guess I can leave it at that because even though we've made separate motions, they're still being received for information at this point. So all those in favor? And motion carries. Thank you. Public meetings, hearings, and delegations. Public meeting zoning bylaw amendment Z02 2025. Welcome, Shay.
Or
Actually, before the report is given, I presume I have to go into the public meeting? Okay, sorry. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Wilby, second by Councillor Deal, that the council of the municipality of Huron East adjourn the regular meeting of council at 6:12 PM to go into a public meeting to discuss the following. Zoning bylaw amendment Z02 of 2025. That the agenda for the, no, that was step one. All those in favor? And motion carried. Second, can I get a mover and a seconder that the agenda for the public meeting be accepted? Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Morrison, that the agenda for the public meeting dated November 4th of 2025 be adopted as circulated. All those in favor? Motion carried. And are there any declarations of pecuniary interest for this portion of the meeting? Seeing none. Welcome again, Shay.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the presentation for zoning bylaw amendment Z02 2025. The subject property is 80196 Beechwood Line in St. Columban. The applicant is Caroline Baker from Baker Planning Group, and the owner is Ashby Farms. And Joe is here in the gallery with us today. Next slide, please. So here I've got an aerial of the subject property. Property is approximately 97 acres in size, consisting mostly of agricultural land. Surrounding land uses include agriculture to the north and west, residential to the east, and a industrial facility to the south. So the amendment here applies to the south 4-acre portion of the property. So that's what I've got shaded in green on the left image there. This section is mostly within the settlement area of St. Columban. And just for background, there was a previous zoning amendment application in 2024 submitted and approved, which requested to permit an agriculture related use on the property. Since this time, the proposed use has changed and as a result requires a subsequent zoning amendment to recognize the new proposed use. Next slide, please. So the application now proposes to permit a long-term commercial self-storage facility. The storage facility is proposed on just the southernmost 3 acres of the property and would consist of about 10 self-storage buildings. So the amendment would change the current AG 3-14 agricultural, commercial, and special zone to AG1, the general agriculture, and a special highway commercial zone, as well as amending the existing text of the C3-5 zone. Next slide, please. Sorry, it's a bit hard to see here, but this is just a excerpt of the proposed zoning key map. So here it shows the south 3-acre portion with a text change. of the C3-5 zone. And then the AG 3-14 strip above this, which is proposed to be reverted back to AG1. And then a small portion of the AG 3-14 zone is proposed to change to that same C3-5 zone. And I'll speak to this a little bit more in a minute, that little portion there. So I've included here the special C3 zone wording here, which permits the storage facility as a permitted use, as well as requires an enhanced interior side yard from 7.5 meters to 12 meters, intended to maintain compatibility to the residential use to the east there. It also proposes to remove the loading zone requirement for commercial use and includes a reduced parking requirement, which has been analyzed for the specific proposed use. So the parking requirements is proposed to go from one space per 90 square meters of floor area to one space per 225 meters. The supporting studies that accompanied the application demonstrate the proposed use is appropriate and compatible. And the reduced parking requirements are appropriate given the low intermittent traffic uses associated with the storage of the facility. Servicing and stormwater management considerations were also evaluated as part of this mission requirements and are able to be accommodated on the site. And then that small portion of development, about 0.1 acres, that's proposed just north of the settlement area boundary to be used as part of the development here, is within the agricultural designation. And this is where the proposed entrance is located. So since the property is within MTO's permit control area, any entrance off of Beechwood line is required to meet MTO setback requirements. MTO requires a setback minimum of 45 meters from the end radius of the intersection, which is why the entrance is proposed where it is, just north of the settlement area boundary. The Huron East official plan provides policy for minor adjustments and interpretation of land use designations, where the intent of the official plan is maintained. So as the site here would otherwise be not undevelopable if an entrance is not able to be issued, and a small portion of the agricultural area is used for the entrance, the intent of the plan is considered to be met. And therefore this complies with the policy of the official plan. Otherwise, the proposed use otherwise meets the required policies and provisions of the Huron East and county official plans. And next slide, please. So then I've just got a picture of the proposed site plan here. So it shows the storage unit facility, showing the location of the 10 buildings. Here's showing about 150 units, as well as the vehicle and emergency access and the entrance location to the north of the property there. Next slide, please. As far as comments go, no concerns were raised from neighbors or other members of the public. No objections were raised by Huron East staff, just note about the entrance being paved as it will be a commercial entrance. And then the applicant engaged in pre-consultation discussion with MTO, who indicated that the proposed entrance location 45 meters offset from the intersection of the highway meets the MTO requirements. And they had no concerns with this location. Just to note that during formal circulation of the application, we did not get any formal comments from MTO. We're just going off those pre-consultation comments. And then one letter of concern was submitted from Huron County Federation of Agriculture, just noting some concerns with the proposed use. Noting that it does not provide significant employment opportunities and has the effect of removing cropped agricultural lands or agribusiness potential. The full comment letter is attached to the council agenda. Next slide, please. So just a couple photos of the site. So currently used for agricultural cropping. Next slide. And then on the right there, that's the to the south, the industrial facility on the Perth family side of the road. And next slide, please. So the proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to both the Huron County and the special plan policies. As such, it's recommended that the application be approved and the corresponding bylaw be passed. And I'm here for any questions on that.
Are there any comments or questions from members of council at this time? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say, I am disappointed that we're taking farmland out of production to build a storage facility. I know it's allowed and everything like that. It seems such a shame, and I have to agree with the Huron County Federation of Agriculture, their comments. Where there's actually no, other than the building of it, there's nothing back to the community. So there isn't in either jobs or stuff like that, so. I know it's allowed and everything like that. I just think it's very poor judgment on the province and trickle down from there. So that's my comments. I'll leave it at that.
I actually want to piggyback on that because I had the same concern and Shay, this is a question. It's not specifically to this piece of property. If it meets the rules, it meets the rules. But more my concern was if someone came in and they wanted to build a house on those 3 acres, I suspect there wouldn't be an opportunity for them to be able to sever that off and to do something like that, where our argument has always been, we don't want farmland being divided up to use it for other purposes other than for farming purposes, yet we are taking farmland to do this. And I'm asking in general, because it could happen again, not specifically to this property. Any comments back from planning on that type of action?
Yeah, so I like specific to this property, since this property or this portion of the property that we're talking about developing is actually within the settlement area boundaries. Any severance application would be weighed against the urban settlement official plan policies. So if there was a request for residential development on this portion of land, we would look at it against the urban policies rather than the agricultural policies. So there would be some opportunity for residential development should that have been the route that the property owners were going to take. So just the key distinction with the policies within the settlement area versus without, once we get outside in the agricultural designation, that's when the policies tighten up and the protections around agriculture are much more strict. So it's kind of the transition of zone, I guess, of this particular property is.
Okay, I do appreciate that clarification. So if this had been 1.25 miles outside of the settlement area, it would not be allowed either. Okay, that does help. Thank you for the settlement area. Are there any comments or questions from members of the public, excluding the applicant at this point? And so I guess I'm questioning, is there anybody online that wishes to speak on this?
Caroline is online, but I think she was just available for any questions should they come up to her.
Then at this point, are there any comments or questions from the applicant?
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
Caroline is on screen. I'm not sure if she had any comments.
Did you want to comment at any time, Caroline?
Oh, thank you, through to the mayor. Sorry, I was using the raise hand function, but I didn't know the appropriate time, so my apologies. I just wanted to add to some of the discussion about the loss of agricultural land. I certainly hold a similar belief, similar to municipal planners in terms of the protection of prime agricultural land. I just wanted to be clear that the development before you this evening, 98% of the site is within the settlement area, not within the prime agricultural area. 2% is proposed at the northwest corner solely to get that driveway in, and it's as low as we could get MTO to go. And even that was an exception on their guidelines in terms of getting the access in on Beechwood Line. The challenge became, is this is a large 3-acre property in a defined settlement area, unfortunately on an MTO corridor, and MTO is not permitting any accesses to the MTO corridor. It has to come off of Beechwood if you want access. And if you want access, this is as close as we can get it and the least amount of farmland that can be taken. The design was intentional to minimize it to as low as possible. So I certainly appreciate the comments of council. I echo your sentiments. This was just a unique situation where you ended up with a large urban parcel that could not be developed and would not be granted any access from MTO without putting the access in this location. And we did spend a lot of time, Mr. DeCroon can attest to it, but we probably spent a good year with the Ministry of Transportation working on this access to get to this point. So I'd be happy to elaborate on any of those discussions, but it is highly unique. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So at this point, it says recommendations will be presented following the regular meeting. Following, is that supposed to be in the regular meeting?
In the regular.
In the regular meeting, okay. So at this point, can I please get a mover and a seconder to close the public portion of the meeting? Moved by Councillor Chartrand, second by Councillor McGrath, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment Z02 2025 be closed at 6:26 p.m. All those in favor? And motion carries. So we're down to 8.1, and so now we have a recommendation for zoning bylaw amendment Z02 of 2025 for ASHV Farms. And the motion, I'll read it at this point. Whereas the council of the municipality of Huron East has held a public meeting pursuant to section 34, paragraph 12 of the Planning Act 1990 with respect to the proposed zoning bylaw of Z02 2025. And whereas public comments were received in opposition to the use of prime agricultural land for self-storage, and whereas no agency comments were received on this application, now therefore pursuant to section 34, paragraph 18 of the Planning Act 1990, council concurs with the November 4th, 2025 planning report and recommends bylaw 80 2025 for approval. Final comments or questions of council? All those in favor? Oh, sorry, I need the mover and a seconder. I read the motion ahead. Moved by Councillor Chartrand, second by Councillor McGrath. All those in favor of the motion as it is read? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna say 5, as much as I don't want to get rid of agricultural land. If it meets the rules, it meets the rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Were you also in there? So that is 6. And I'm gonna ask for the vote again, so I got clarification. All those in favor of the motion as it was read? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still only number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The motion is defeated at this point. Can somebody give me an update on what happens next? Does it still go to county council now for their approval?
It does not go to county council for their approval?
No, just as a zoning bylaw amendment, it's the approval would just be municipality.
Yeah,
Um,
so the bylaw wouldn't be approved at the end either, so if it's not recommended, then the zoning amendment wouldn't pass.
Councillor Chartrand.
So does this gentleman have an appeal process? Because if this was to go to county council, the fact that it meets all the criteria and it's not designated prime agriculture land, they. Like Caroline said, it's a unique situation. What's the process?
yeah, if I may, so the applicant does have the right to appeal.
To who?
To the, I believe it go right to the LLC, so yeah, we can give it that option.
Councillor McGrath.
Read this once before, with Burns Acres out there. We turned down the severance from the house off the farm. And it went to county. No, that, maybe not the right process, do it to county and county approved it. I don't know if this applies to the same situation or not.
That would have been a severance, which is a little bit of a different process.
Okay, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, but I know we did have that issue.
We've already taken the vote and that doesn't change, but I think it's fair to ask the question. What costs are involved now that an appeal could happen?
So I think there is a fee to the appellant to appeal to the OLT. And then they would discuss with the options for going through to the tribunal, so it would be feasible for sure.
the municipality would likely have legal fees involved with that as well.
The vote was taken. I can't go back and ask us to do it again. We'll carry on. We are down to number 10, reports and recommendations of municipal officers. And the first one, the CAO 25-26 site plan control bylaw.
Pretty straightforward. It's just the last bylaw was done in 2014. There's been a lot of legislative changes and regulations that have come forward since then. So we're just aligning the bylaw to align with those amendments. There's also delegated authority. Previously, it was just the CAO in 2022 as part of those legislative changes. And we're just recommending that that actually go to the clerk as they're more handling applications on a day-to-day basis.
Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Deal, second by Councillor Dalton. That the council of the municipality of Huron East consider the site plan control bylaw for approval. All those in favor? And motion carries. Under correspondence, the C4th BIA ratification of the C4th BIA directors. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Wilby, second by Councillor Fisher. That the council of the municipality of Huron East approve the appointments of the 2025 to 2026 BIA directors as determined at the October 22nd, 2025 BIA annual general meeting. All those in favor? And motion carries. 11.2 Brussels Remembrance Day Parade Request. And I get a mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Deal, second by Councillor Morrison. That the council of the municipality of Huron East has no objection in regards to the Brussels Remembrance Day Parade. All those in favor? And motion carries. I did not see any letters of request to have attendance at any of the Remembrance Day events, which we normally have had in the past.
We circulated those just among staff through email, so I believe Councillor will be to attend this report for the hearing. And we have. Was it Councillor Newell? Did you say you would be willing to attend for the Brussels?
Perfect. Okay. Was there a request for his?
No.
Okay. I have nothing under unfinished, so I will go to council reports and I will turn to the deputy mayor for county council.
I don't think we had county council since, so haven't. So what I would like to report on a couple things that I attended on October the 26th. Habitat for Humanity here in county had their 20th anniversary. It was on the 26th, Sunday afternoon at Cowbell and Blythe. They talked about their successes over the past 20 years with their partners. They built 18 homes in the past 20 years. They talked about the organizations that they work with and the many challenges they've had. They're looking to expand from single dwelling homes to duplexes, quads, and even tiny homes. There will be something possible in the future as well. Royal Homes were there as well. The rep from there spoke about their willingness to work with municipalities on our housing challenges. So they're more than willing to work with us in partnership if we want a housing, like an area that we want to build some housing for low income or stuff like that. So they're more than willing to do that. So then on October the 29th, the next day after we had our tour, we had emergency training and planning here at the town hall. We met as an emergency control group and the alternates were here as well. Our emergency we had that day was a cyber attack. It was launched on a long weekend and not being discovered until the Tuesday morning. It turned out to be countywide. It turned out to be a countywide event. We had lots of discussion. Police were notified and the insurance company as well. So we worked through that. Then we spent some time, minus the mayor, he left on us. So we spent some time updating our hazard identification and risk assessment. So our previous list had chemical spill and cyber attack near the top, or not, were the top. But after that day, I think we had, was it tornado and weather events?
I think cyber was still number 2. I think it's just our weather events.
Was it? I thought it was down far, but I could be wrong too. I know, but it was very interesting. So I told the mayor he missed out for some really good. think that's all I had. Thank you. I had to take questions for that as well.
I'm gonna defend myself. I stayed for the whole thing until they went to that list. Because the list is, it's worthwhile doing the work. But it's a debate amongst everybody in the room to who has the strongest opinion about where it should be on the list. You didn't need me here for that part, so. And truth of the matter is, it's probably staff that are better informed what should move around in there because they're dealing with the day-to-day stuff. So anyways, are there any other boards, committees, meetings, or seminars that anybody attended? Councillor Chartrand?
Yes, I attended a meeting as chair of the Asaba Bethel Conservation this past week at 8 in the morning with the Minister of Conservation and the Director of Conservation, where they dropped the bomb on us that they want to amalgamate 36 conservations into 7 regions. There's a lot of unanswered questions about how this is going to go down. Staff, what happens to the Maitland Valley, Asabo, do they combine? We're in the Lake Huron region. So right now we're in the consultation period where they want feedback from municipalities, landowners, conservations. There's just a whole lot of unanswered questions, and all this got motivated by, again, wanting to build more homes. There's a lot of concern on landowners that have donated and given land to conservations to make trails, and that and such, and what's gonna happen to that land. So we have a meeting of our board this Thursday, and then this Friday, there's another meeting online with all 36 conservations to start going through, listing what our concerns are. All through the meeting with the Minister of Conservation, he kept on saying, it'll be business as usual, business as usual. You won't be doing anything different. So I don't know if it's a name change. We're gonna be called Regional Huron Lake. I don't know. But there'll be more information to follow as we get clearer on it through this, these meetings that we got coming up. They keep on saying you're gonna still maintain water quality, flooding, permits. They say the reason why they want to do this was to standardize the permits throughout all of Ontario. And other things. Some questions were who's gonna do the levies and who's gonna calculate the budgets and that type of stuff. Is it gonna be this regional directors, and then each region have a director? And then we're kind of a lower tier with our 2 conservations still in place doing what they did before? We don't know. So there's been media release. I'm sure you heard it on the radio by now and that type of stuff. So there'll be more information to follow.
Now that you've opened up the door about the fact that there might be some changes with conservation authorities, and I probably should have brought it up during the correspondence. And I realize there will be budgets and presentations made to council by those agencies going forward. You know, I was a little bothered, I guess, seeing that it was over 6% that ABCA was recommending, especially along with 2 facts that Maitland Valley was coming in at under 4, even though I do realize ABCA board had asked the staff to go back and try and get it down to 4. But then I have to weigh it against other information that we're aware of, and we did an increase to our staff here, which was the cost of living for the year in past, which ended up being just under 2%, and they were talking 2.5. And I guess I have concerns that as much as we do recognize, and it's too bad the province doesn't fund them better, I don't want those agencies to start to run amok and start to cost municipalities more money just so that they have things the way they want it, when the municipalities themselves do a lot of struggling.
You'll be coming to the presentation because we did get it down to 3.9%.
Okay,
However, that breakout that you read, it all depends on, it's a number factor that's given by the province to the different conservations as to what the rate is. So Gavin will be coming here to explain that to you, to have a better understanding of how, if you saw the whole picture, like Blue Water was like 8 or 9%. It all varies on these numbers that are given, similar to impact, only it's a different group. So I will have him come to explain that to us.
Okay, and just what might help the night he comes, Councillor Chartrand, is that when you say Blue Water's at 8%, is that because they've got some special projects because they do have the lakefront and that ups their percentage?
Part of the reason.
Okay, so those technically should be taken out of the equation overall. It's the overall day-to-day operations of the Conservation Authority that I'm more interested in. Because each municipality has the ability to vote to whether they want those special projects to go ahead or not, because when I used to be on it, I think they used to pay 90% of those costs or something like that.
It's changed radically.
Okay,
And again, if you remember way back when they came, there were priority 1 things that had to be done that were mandated by the government, priority 2s, and then there were priority 3s that each municipality could say, we don't want training, or we don't want this, and we all signed up for it. Every municipality, all 9 municipalities signed up for it, but I'll have them come and explain to what that 6% means to us and how they derive that 6%.
I do appreciate that, but I think whenever us as a municipality are doing our best to keep our ducks in a row and run the municipality as efficiently as possible.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure that any agencies that we're helping support are doing the same thing, so. Okay, thank you for that. Are there any requests by members at this time? Any notices of motion? Seeing none, is there any other business that anybody would like to bring up at this time? Deputy Mayor?
You made 2 announcements yet, or are they still coming?
No, sorry, announcements was before other business.
Okay.
I missed it.
Okay, well, I might be in conflict of interest, but I just want to take a minute and recognize my brother Maxwell Fallon. He fire chief for the Brussels station, and he retired on October 31st. Max has worked for over 30 years, serving here in the east out of that station. I think he said he spent 10 years driving the truck, the next 10 years as deputy chief, and the final 10 years as chief. So October 31st was his last day, and I just want that in the minutes to recognize that time, so.
Actually, I think we should go one step farther. Anybody that puts in 30 years for the municipality, the least we should be doing is some sort of certificate from the municipality and present it to the person.
Maxwell is invited for the last meeting in December, part of all of our service recognition awards.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
I just want to recognize that.
So is there anything under other business? I have nothing listed on the agenda. We are down to bylaws. Can I get,
That one we will have to skip that one. That was the zoning bylaw amendment.
okay. No, I don't have a bylaw to introduce the bylaws. Do we do that here?
No, we do all 3 readings with each bylaw.
Okay, gets confusing between the 2 different levels. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder for bylaw 81? Moved by Councillor Deal, second by Councillor Morrison. That be it hereby resolved that bylaw 81 of 2025, a bylaw to designate a site plan control area and to adopt rules for the processing of site plan control development applications be given first, second, third, and final readings and signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. All those in favor? And motion carries. A mover and a seconder for bylaw 82, please. Councillor Dalton and Deputy Mayor. That be it hereby resolved that bylaw 82 of 2025, a bylaw to appoint Michelle Watcher as Deputy Treasurer of the corporation be given first, second, third, and final readings and signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. All those in favor? Any motion carries. Mover and a seconder for bylaw 83. Councillor Morrison, Councillor Chartrand. That be it hereby resolved that bylaw 83 of 2025, a bylaw to temporarily close sections of specific roads in the Brussels ward to accommodate the Remembrance Day service be given first, second, third, and final readings and signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. All those in favor? Motion carries. And a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, which I'm gonna guess is number 84. Get a mover and a seconder, Counselor Deal and Counselor Wilby. That be it hereby resolved that bylaw 84 of 2025, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be given first, second, third, and final readings, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. All those in favor? And motion carries. And can I get a mover and a seconder to adjourn? Counselor Fisher and Counselor Deal. That the time now being 6:45 PM.
Whoa.
The regular meeting do now adjourn until November 18, 2025 at 6 PM. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Oh.